superheroes, high school, and a big award show. Sounds like a perfect mix. On this episode of Moving Panels, we're talking about DC Superhero Girls Hero of the Year. Welcome to Moving Panels, the podcast where we discuss movies and TV shows based on, inspired by, and adapted from the world of comic books. I'm your host, Laramy Wells, and joining me today for her birthday episode is my now 7-year-old daughter, Lily.
Hi.
Are you excited to talk about superhero girls today? Yeah. Had you seen this movie before? Do you remember seeing this movie before?
Yes.
Well, that's good. So this movie actually came out, it was first seen at San Diego Comic-Con. Do you know what San Diego Comic-Con is?
No.
That is this big convention. Where a whole bunch of comic book fans and movie fans and all go to this big room, and some people dress up in costume. And they go and see panels, people talking about things. Well, this movie actually released there back in 2016.
Okay.
So that was the first time people got to see this movie.
Okay.
It then was available digitally because, all the DC Superhero Girls shorts were all on YouTube. So it got a digital release first on August 9th of 2016, and then it got the DVD release on August 23rd.
Wait, if you never watched DC Superhero Girls, watch it right now.
Okay. This is a great movie for a younger viewer. It runs only 76 minutes, so it's a perfect time. Let me get some of the stuff that I usually talk about out of the way. So the director of this is Cecilia Aronovich. I apologize if I butchered that. She pretty much directs all the DC Superhero Girls movies and episodes. She's even done a few Scooby-Doo movies. And she is the supervising director for the Max Harley Quinn series. The Harley Quinn show that comes on Max.
Wait, is that the one that...
Yeah, that's the one you can't watch.
Oh.
And then the writer of this movie is Shay Fontana, who, again, pretty much writes most of the DC Superhero Girls stuff. She also writes for the DC Superhero Girls graphic novel. But I found out she also has been involved with Polly Pocket and Monster High when it comes to their movies and all that. She's behind some of those. So I wonder if she wrote you got a couple of Monster High movies, don't you?
Yeah.
Wonder if she wrote any of those. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our comic book connection.
This is the comic book connection theme.
DC Superhero Girls was launched by DC Entertainment in 2015 as a multimedia franchise designed to reimagine iconic female superheroes and supervillains as teenagers attending Superhero High. While not directly based on any comic storyline, the franchise takes inspiration from decades of DC lore and characters. Characters like Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and Batgirl retained their classic origins. Wonder Woman is still an Amazonian princess from Themyscira, Supergirl is Superman's cousin from Krypton, and Batgirl is the tech-savvy daughter of Commissioner Gordon. The franchise introduced these characters in a younger, more accessible format, teaching lessons of teamwork, bravery, and friendship. It simplifies complex comic book lore for a younger audience while honoring the spirit of the source material. I also, though, wanted to get into the villains. So the villain Eclipso first appeared in House of Secrets number 61 in 1963, and was originally a scientist named Bruce Gordon, who became possessed by a dark spirit. In later versions, Eclipso was retconned into a godlike being of vengeance cast out by a higher power. One of the most notable and darker storylines came in the early 2000s when Eclipso possessed Jean Loring, formerly the wife of the Adam Ray Palmer. after she suffered a mental breakdown. This version of Eclipso was cunning, cruel, and extremely powerful, bringing the character to new levels of danger in DC's supernatural corners, and that's the Eclipso that appears in this movie. Dark Opal is a lesser-known DC villain from the fantasy-themed comic series Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld, and he first appeared in 1983. He is a power-hungry sorcerer who uses magic gems to increase his power and try to rule Gemworld. While not traditionally associated with the main DC timeline and heroes, his inclusion in this movie adds a mystical element and expands the magical lore of the DC universe. You probably didn't know anything about those characters other than what you saw in this movie, right?
I kind of knew a little bit about the guy that has gems. I kind of knew about him, but I didn't know that much about that girl or that boy. It was a girl or a boy, I don't know.
Do you think it would be fun to go to a superhero school?
No.
You don't? Why not?
Because I would have to fight.
I mean, not necessarily, but I mean, that's what being a superhero is all about.
Well, I don't like fight. I like fighting when people mess with me. I like karate chop.
Yeah. Now, you don't just get into fights. Like, obviously, we are talking about, superheroes fighting the bad guys. Now, of all the characters in DC Superhero Girls, which character would you want to learn more about, like, in the comics?
I think I would more want to learn about the girl that's a very good fighter.
Talking about Shiva? When you asked me about Shiva when we were watching?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, well, let's get into the cast, the voice actors that give us our DC Superhero Girls. And I'm going to see if Ruby gets surprised by some of these. So first off, we've got Annis Fairweather, who plays Supergirl. She's done some other work, but pretty much her main claim to fame is voicing Supergirl in all the DC Superhero Girl stuff up until the more recent variation where all the voice actors, for the most part, changed. Then we've got Gray Griffin, who voices Wonder Woman. She is a legendary voice actress. Currently, she's been the voice of Martin on The Simpsons since 2019. But here's where Lily might get surprised. The woman who voices Wonder Woman is also the voice of Lola, Lana, and Lily on Loud House.
Oh my goodness.
And she also voices Daphne in a lot of the Scooby-Doo movies.
No!
Okay, well, that's a response. And then Batgirl is voiced by actress Mae Whitman, who also voiced Batgirl for Batman the Brave and the Bold. But she's done lots of voice work, but she's also known as an actress. She starred in the movie The Duff. She starred on the television show Parenthood and very recently Good Girls. She was Roxy in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and voiced the character for the Netflix series. She voiced the character of April O'Neil in the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Bethany is probably already screaming at her phone or whatever she's listening to me on. She was Anne on Arrested Development. Got to mention that. But you ready for this one, Lily?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the woman who voices Batgirl is also the voice of Tinkerbell in all of those Tinkerbell.
Oh my goodness!
All of those Tinkerbell movies you watch.
Even the one that I watched yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh
Again, pretty much all the Tinkerbell movies.
Oh my goodness!
So Secret of the Wings, the Pirate Fairy.
I haven't watched the Pirate Fairy in so long.
All right, and then Tayla Dunn is the voice of Bumblebee. She's done a few other things. She's mostly famous for her YouTube channel. She's more of a content creator. But she was on the television series Are We There Yet? So those of you who remember that. And then iconic voice actress Tara Strong as Harley Quinn. And also, she voices Poison Ivy. She voices both characters. But again, I just tried to pick some characters here. She's done so much, but I tried to pick some characters that Lily might be familiar with. So Tara Strong also is the voice of Raven on Teen Titans.
Are you kidding me?
I am not. She is the voice. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
She is the voice of Kitty Fairy and Mama Box on Gabby's Dollhouse.
Oh my goodness!
You won't know this one, but I know Ruby does. She's the voice of Miss Minutes on Loki. Now back to something you might be surprised by. She is the voice of Twilight Sparkle on My Little Pony.
Oh my goodness! Twilight Sparkle.
Yep, that's the same woman who does Harley Quinn.
I don't even know. I haven't even watched that, but oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then she even voices boy characters. Like she's the voice of Ben 10. You know Ben 10? You're not familiar with that one? And she's also the voice of Timmy Turner on Fairly Odd Parents. That one you know. And actually when they updated DC Superhero Girls, she became the voice of Batgirl. So in the newer DC Superhero Girls, Tara Strong is the voice of Batgirl.
Oh.
I didn't do all the characters. I went ahead and put down our villains. So Eclipso is voiced by Mona Marshall, who is a veteran voice actress. Huge list of things she's been in, but probably as more people are going to recognize her, she's Kyle's mom on South Park. So that's one. You don't know that. You don't need to know that at 7 years old. And then Sean Schimmel is the voice of Dark Opal, and I did not know this until I looked it up, but he's Goku in Dragon Ball Z. So another one you're not familiar with. But I also wanted to mention a couple of recognizable names for probably many of our listeners. So Principal Waller, Amanda Waller, is voiced by Yvette Nicole Brown, who's done lots of voice work, but she'll probably be more recognizable to many people from Community. She had a small part in Avengers Endgame as a SHIELD activist, or archivist, excuse me. And the younger people listening might know that she also appeared on Drake and Josh. So there you go. Martha Kent and Jonathan Kent might surprise some people to know that Martha Kent is voiced by Helen Slater, the original Supergirl, who also played Laura L., Clark's real mom on Smallville. And she played Eliza Danvers, Supergirl's adopted mom on the Supergirl TV series. So she's kind of been connected with Supergirl and Superman in a whole bunch of different ways. And then Jonathan Kent is voiced by a guy who played Superman, Dean Cain, who's Superman from the 90s, and also played Jeremiah Danvers, Supergirl's adopted father, on the Supergirl TV series. So kind of a fun connection there. You had Superman and Supergirl playing Jonathan and Martha Kent.
Yep.
And then a fun little thing to mention is there are 3 of the Teen Titans that make a cameo in this movie: Starfire, Beast Boy, and Cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all voiced by the original actors from the Teen Titans animated series. So Hayden Walsh is the voice of Starfire, Greg Sipes as Beast Boy, and Carrie Payton as Cyborg.
They sound exactly the same.
That's because they were the exact same people.
Yep.
So who was your favorite superhero in the movie?
I am actually, since they made her in this, I'm actually saying Starfire.
Starfire?
Yep.
Starfire's your favorite? Okay.
I have 2 favorites.
All right. Well, who's your second one?
Well, my second one is that girl that fights.
Shiva again?
Yes, Shiva.
Okay. You were just very interested in Shiva, weren't you?
Yep.
Well, if you could have a superpower like the DC superhero girls, what would be your superpower?
I would say teleport.
You would like to teleport? That would be cool.
To different to back then in my future.
Oh, so you want to teleport through time.
Yeah.
Not just teleport from place to place.
Yeah.
You want to time travel.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any characters that you didn't like, or characters you thought were mean, or?
I think I didn't like those like black guys, and I don't think I liked the villains.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not supposed to. Now, when you say black guys, you're talking about those shadow creatures.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so you didn't like the people you were supposed to not like.
Yeah.
So the villains. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, the next section we do is called Watch It or Read It, where we tell our listeners whether they should watch this movie, Hero of the Year, or whether they should just go out and read some comic books. So I'm gonna say they should watch it.
I'm gonna say they should watch it.
Okay. Now, why should they watch it?
Because it's so cool.
I mean, do you think that kids your age, again, you just turned 7.
Yeah.
Do you think that kids your age would like this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why?
Because, like, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And, like, I like the, their school where they learn how to be a superhero, but not so much the villain area.
Yeah. Well, and I wrote that it's fun and it's quick. Again, this is a 76-minute movie, and I think it's a great way to introduce a younger audience to a lot of these characters. Yeah, the comics are going to give you a lot more, but something like this with the animation, the amazing voice acting, the humor, again, it brings these characters to life in a way that's a lot more engaging for a younger audience.
Even if you're 6, you could watch it.
Now it's time for a commercial.
I'm Molly Bloom, host of the podcast Brains On, where we team up with kids to answer their most pressing questions, like,
what was the first life form on Earth like?
Do dogs understand their dogs the way a human knows it's a human?
And
what would happen if you dug a hole through the earth and jumped right in?
we also explain the science of sequins, brain freeze, wolf howls, Mars, dinosaurs, weather forecasts, and much more. If there's something you're curious about, there's a good chance we have an episode all about it. Plus, we have mystery sounds for you to guess, songs for you to dance to, and lots of facts, all checked by experts. You can listen to over 100 episodes of Brains On for free at brainson.org.
All right, so let's take a trip around the spinner rack. Was there, and we start with a speech bubble, was there a quote or something somebody said from the movie that you remember that you really liked or you thought was funny?
Nope.
You can't think of one?
Wait, when one of those bad guys said, "I like Gem World."
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're talking about like Eclipso was bashing Gem World, and Dark Opal was like, "Hey,
I like Gem World."
Yeah. Mine was after Batgirl and the rest returned from Themyscira,
and
Commissioner Gordon runs up and says, "Your third period forensic teacher told me you missed class." And she replies, "Dad, you are my third period forensics teacher." Yeah. I just found that funny.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about a moving panel. What was a scene, like a specific scene that you really liked?
The scene where Wonder Woman was like Wonder Woman's mom was like, "Wait, you haven't showed them the best room," and she was like, "Mom, that's embarrassing." Where like all her trophies are.
Yeah, and then they had the empty case where Bumblebee thought it was an invisible trophy.
Yeah.
But it was just where she's keeping to put the Hero of the Year trophy that she's expecting.
But then at the end, Bumblebee gets it.
Yeah. Well, we can spoil it on this. So yes, Bumblebee ends up being Hero of the Year at the end. I just enjoyed the big, climactic fight scene at the end, because you got all your heroes coming together.
And at Supergirl's house.
Well, no, I'm talking about the battle they have outside the school where all of the heroes are fighting off the shadow monsters. You see Harley Quinn do she's doing the whack-a-mole
and she's like, "Who wants to play a game?" And one time she goes like, "Oh, I heard it's your birthday. Time to give a birthday gift," and then just whacks him.
Yeah. But we get to see all the characters kind of using their abilities, and I really like that. And of course it shows teamwork. That's very inspiring. Of course the visuals are just great. I love the vibrant colors that are in this, and it was just a perfect climax for a story. Keeps it all together. So we talked about that Bumblebee does become Hero of the Year. Who do you think should have been Hero of the Year?
I think,
Do you think should have been Bumblebee or should have been somebody else?
It should have been Harley Quinn.
Okay, why should Harley Quinn have been Hero of the Year?
Because she whacked most of the shadow monsters.
Okay. Well, I think the idea behind Hero of the Year is somebody who the idea was throughout the school year, showed a lot of
actually, I think it was
heroic
Bumblebee.
ability.
I think it was actually...
You do think it was Bumblebee?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Bumblebee has to deal with the fact that her
suit was
damaged and she was small for the entire movie for the most part.
But then at the end, Supergirl gives her a part of her gem, and then...
Which helps to power her suit.
And then she's like,
yeah, she tries to reach and get it herself.
And then Batgirl's like, "Let me have it." And then she puts it in there, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm free."
All right, so let me just ask you a whole bunch of questions, and that's kind of how we'll end this episode. So, what was your favorite part of the movie?
My most favorite?
Yep.
I think your funniest part.
What you're talking about when Commissioner Gordon and
yeah.
Okay. Well, that I guess answers my second question. I was going to ask, was there anything in the movie that made you laugh?
Yeah.
It was that. Okay. Was there, now again, we dealt with some shadow monsters and all that. Was there any part of this movie that you thought was a little scary?
When they trapped them in those big balls, and then they were like, "Mom, Dad." Supergirl was like, "Mom, Dad," and Wonder Woman was like, "Mom," and Batgirl was like, "Dad," and they were like, "Oh." Yeah,
when the villains had, now Supergirl, it wasn't Mom and Dad, it's her aunt and uncle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what she calls Jonathan and Martha.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has Jonathan and Martha and
Wonder Woman's
mom, whose name's Hippolyta, and then Commissioner Gordon has all of them trapped, and then they trap the superhero girls inside of there, and the parents are trying to free the superhero girls.
But then Bumblebee frees them with the black gem.
If you could go to Superhero High, what would your superhero name be?
Superhero Lily!
Superhero Lily?
Yeah.
You would just be Superhero Lily?
But no, actually, it would be Nice Lily.
Nice Lily. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not really hiding a secret identity because you're putting Lily in your superhero name.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you could, since this is your birthday episode, if you could invite one of the superheroes from the movie to your birthday party, who would you invite?
The strong girl.
The strong girl?
The girl that fight. Hiya.
Oh, going back to Shiva again.
Yeah.
You would invite Shiva.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably let people know that you've learned karate, that you've taken karate classes.
Yes.
Yeah, and you are an orange belt.
Orange yellow.
Or orange yellow belt, excuse me. All right. Now, other than Shiva, do you think you could be friends with any of the heroes?
Can I do two? But
Yeah.
one includes Shiva.
Okay, other than Shiva, because we know you would pick Shiva.
Shiva and Supergirl.
Supergirl, why Supergirl?
Because she will burn whenever I get in trouble.
She will
She will ice things with her eyes and burn.
with her breath.
She will ice things with her breath and fire things with her breath.
No, that's with her eyes.
With her eyes.
Why would she need to fire things and ice things?
If someone is being a bully, if someone's being a bully, she will ice them or fire them.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, she could be there to protect you, but as many superheroes know, you don't just immediately start a fight, and if it's a bully, you could just, kind of talk to them first and then try to work things out.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, you know what? That'll lead me to a question. So, what do you think some of the rules are at Superhero High?
Some of the rules?
Yeah, like what rules would the teachers and principals have to have with a school filled with superheroes?
No using your powers on people. No fighting without permission.
Okay. That's probably some pretty good ones. Okay, well let's go ahead and wrap this up with our final decision, and we call it bag it, stack it, or trade it. Do you remember what that means?
No.
Okay, so bag it means that you are keeping it, that you're gonna seal it up, you're gonna add it to your collection. It's one that you really, treasure. Stack it means that you're just tossing it into a pile. You may come back to it from time to time. And then trade it means you'd rather have something else. You'd rather watch something else.
Okay.
So, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Me.
Okay. So, would you bag it, stack it, or trade it?
Bag it.
All right. Why would you bag it?
Because, wait, what am I bagging?
You're bagging the movie. So, pretty much, bag it means that you really, 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 really love this movie.
Okay.
Stack it means you just think it's okay. And then trade it means you thought it was a bad movie.
I think it's a good movie because I liked every part where, I saw all the heroes.
Okay.
And it was super fun and super cool, and I loved it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say bag it for what it is. It's a great animated little short movie that's a great introduction for superheroes of young fans, specifically for young girls. The idea is, really behind the focus is on girls. And I mean, I love the intro song, Get Your Cape On, which on TikTok is one of is probably my most viewed video, is the one where I posted the song from the opening of DC Superhero Girls. So, just to throw out a recommendation, I think it's pretty simple. Watch the other DC Superhero Girls. They have the YouTube shorts. There are some graphic novels if you want to read those. They expand on the characters.
There's even ones with Teen Titans in it.
Yeah, there is a movie that crosses over with Teen Titans Go. So if you like that sillier stuff, but that is the newer version of the DC Superheroes. That's not this version of the DC Superhero Girls.
And there's one where they're in space, and there's Teen Titans Go, and there's DC Superhero Girls. So you should watch it.
But again, that is the newer version of the DC Superhero Girls, not this version. So I would say, again, if you like this, then go find the YouTube shorts of this version of the DC Superhero Girls. But yeah, I mean, Teen Titans Go kind of has a lot of that sillier stuff. And again, that's that same voice cast that appears in this movie. But to go completely away from all of that, I did throw in another girl-powered animated movie, and that was Monster High, Electrified. So you can go see that. It's, again, got a great color palette to it, and supports a strong message about being yourself. All right. Well, again, thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you. It's not really my birthday.
Well, it's after your birthday, but again, this is your birthday episode.
Yeah.
So
we call it my birthday.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this with me. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Well, good. Do you want to do another superhero movie episode with me sometime?
Sure. Maybe it's gonna be about Superman and Supergirl.
Maybe. We'll have to see. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Rate and review the show. But for today, for Moving Panels, I'm Laramy Wells.
And I'm Lily Wells.
And we'll see you on the other side of the page.
Yeah. Bye.
Moving panels, tales collide. Skips and scenes, where worlds divide. From print to screen, the legends stay.